What's going on, MMA fans? I'm here just to do a quick update video to my MMA issues video. I'll link that video to this one. And just to run over some things that I kind of talked about on my last video, but things that are kind of coming to fruition, but some things that are a little bit troubling to me. And I'd love to hear your guys' input on this, because if you haven't read this article, please go read that. The article that I'm going to talk about. Let me put this up so I can show you first of all, and then I'm going to talk about it. This was on Sheerdog yesterday, and it's the elbow room remains a controversial regulation. What they're talking about is Big John McCarthy here in the last couple months has convened a couple times with the ABC, the athletic commissions, and they're going to be doing a big meeting here coming up in July to talk about what constitutes a strike to the back of the head, the point system, and overall rules in this sport, which is something that's very important, and I actually just talked about this in my video. That's why I want to do an update on this. This is a big step. This is something that needs to be done. It's something that needs to have been done. It's been done a couple times. They have come together, a couple of the referees, a couple of the commissions, and they talked about this stuff. But what I read in this article was a bit troubling to me when the two referees that are talked about in this article are two of the best referees we have in MMA, Steve Mazzagatti and Herb Dean. And both of them have different interpretations of what a strike to the back of the head is. Herb Dean goes by the Wallace theory, which I've heard before, and I think that, and they mentioned it in this article, it was presented in '06 to the UFC in California, when they had an actual event in Anaheim. And the back of the head presented then, and what Herb Dean believes is the back of the head, is called the horseshoe theory. From this part of the ear all the way around, below, and back. So pretty much this part of your face here is legal. So imagine that. That's legal. Now, the Big John McCarthy theorem is what they call the mohawk, and it's from this point of your head back all the way. Both of these have some issues, which, first of all, the mohawk, if that was what we've seen in some of the other fights, I mean, look at the Copenhagen fight, those strikes were to right in this area, and they're not deducting points. I mean, that's what bugs me, is we have all of these different interpretations of the rules, and if that is what the rule's supposed to be, it's not implemented correctly. And that's why, when I talked about in my other video, the BMA is going crazy on MMA right now, is for this reason, because we don't have black and white rules. And an organization I'm going to talk about here in a couple minutes, who in the past I wasn't too happy with, but as of recent have stepped up to the plate, and stepped their game up, is WAMA, who is actually getting in there, and they've done a whole bunch of seminars here in the last couple months. They've tried to do public awareness. They're getting in with organizations now to try to, deal with rankings and rules and so on and so forth. But this is something that WAMA can help out with, and definitely this is something that these commissions need to listen to, because you can't have different interpretations of the rules. This needs to be black and white across the board, everywhere, so that on any given night, you don't have a fighter complaining that, well, that wasn't what was happening in that fight. You've got to be consistent. And I understand, just like Mike said, Dread, that you're going to have refs that are going to be a little inconsistent sometimes, and that's fine. But we've seen too many inconsistencies as of late, and I think you can agree. You've seen it at CBS Elite XC. You've seen it in some of the other organizations like WEC. You've seen it in the UFC. You've seen it even in not Elite XC. You've seen it in Strikeforce. You've seen it in a couple of the fights that have been put on by, Cage Rage. I've seen it there as well. So you've got to be consistent all the way across the board. So check this article out. Very, very good. Hopefully, with WAMA being involved now, and they don't mention it in this article, but I had heard that they were going to have a representative at this meeting, WAMA was. and Big John and these commissions can come to a mediation, to something they can all agree with, as far as the point system and everything else, to try to implement this stuff, because this is stuff that's got to be corrected. This is too much. And when I read this article, I was really concerned when you've got two referees, it's two of the best, and they both have different opinions, and that's not good. That's not good at all. WAMA is pushing to do the heavyweight title, if you haven't heard, between Tim Sylvia and Fedor Emelianenko for the #1 ranking in the world. And this is actually really good. I like this. WAMA has stepped their game up. They have started to really put it on. They were kind of, running with their tail between their legs a couple months back. They went up to organizations and said, hey, well, you won't? Okay, and they wouldn't do anything. Now they are being persistent. Now you see them helping out with Adrenaline, IFL, Affliction. They are finally getting their feet in the doorway, and it looks like it's going to be promising. These guys are trying to push unified rules, which that's why, with the elbow stuff, I think that's going to be something that they're going to be involved in. I think you're going to see a lot of cross-promotional fights, but just like this one, where they're going to try to get a #1 undisputed champion in a weight class. And for the trouble that we've seen the heavyweight division have here in the last year and a half or so, with people not thinking that Fedor should be #1, people thinking that Randy should be #1, people thinking that Nog should be #1, this type of setup will put that to rest. You'll have Tim fight Fedor. Josh Barnett has got a couple fights with Affliction. Hopefully the winner of the Josh Barnett fight will fight Tim or Fedor, and that will put the rankings into perspective there. Nogueira will hopefully fight some top-tier competition. Hopefully they'll bring in some heavyweights. The UFC can, that are guys that are upper echelon. We'll see what happens there. And like I said, the heavyweight division's just been in a crap fest here in the last year and a half, that a lot of these rankings are de facto rankings because no one has consistently fought for 4 fights. Top-tier guys. Randy fought Tim and Gabe. That doesn't put you at #1. Nog has fought who? Heath Herring, Tim Sylvia. Doesn't put you at #1. Josh Barnett has been inactive. Fedor has fought some of the best guys in the world. He's been inactive, but he had the title, and he had, some big wins against big names like Crow Cop, Nogueira, so on and so forth. That's kind of why he's at #1. That's all going to change here very soon. So I know Nuker always says, as soon as Fedor fights the best guys in the world, I'll start. Well, go check out his videos and you can see what he says. But anywho, what I have to say though is we'll start seeing this stuff get smoothed out, and we'll start seeing who is the real #1 fighter in the world here soon, because I don't think that anybody here soon in Affliction, if they're fighting with that organization, with the guys and the top level guys they've got in that organization as far as heavyweight, somebody's going to have to fight somebody, and once they do, if they lose or they win, it's going to boost them up. So we'll see how that goes down. On that note, leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive, on both of these topics. Vid responses if you wish. And on that note, you guys, have a great day.